for another round of wintry conditions. Krispy Kreme creates a new donut in honor of today's Mars landing, and why a growing number of stay-at-home workers are making fake commutes.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
After 2 systems in the past 4 days dumped up to 7 inches of snow in some parts of the 4 states, the sun is finally shining and the temps are rising. This is KOAM News at Noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Let's go straight to Michael Hayslip for a first look at our weekend forecast.
You know, Tanya, it's one of those things where we go, well, it's not going to get up to 32 degrees. So how would we have any type of a melt? It's amazing what the sun can do, and it's evident outside our own towers. Just a little bit of sunshine, and all of a sudden that ice and snow quickly begins to dissipate, not only off our roads, but also our elevated areas. In a beautiful Skywatch storm tracker, no cloud cover, no precipitation, great blue skies. But we're used to this by now. But all of a sudden, when we talk about it being 27 in Miami, 19 in Lamar, and 21 in Iola at the noon hour, well, that almost seems warm for the past couple of days. We still do have good wind chills in effect, though. Single digits in Independence, only 5 right now is what it feels like in Carthage, and 11 in Commerce. But little positive aspect, I know the Southwest that we've been talking about, hammered with another one again, but a high pressure system that hangs over the Midwest has forced all the snow that we had to put up with ever since Sunday and Monday to the far east. Right now moving out of the Ohio River Valley toward the northeastern portion of the United States. Don't need to worry about flurries or anything of that nature for the rest of the day. Overnight from Thursday into Friday morning, yeah, it's going to be bitterly cold again. But here's the nice thing about Friday. We're going to, yep, there it is. That 32 hit the map. That's what we need. And now we get an average of 31 on the 7-day forecast, but I want to explain why, because it's going to be a little bit warmer down to the south, where we'll see about 34, 35. But when we take into our northern counties, then we're talking about 27, 28. So you average it out, we'll go about 31 degrees, but that's still enough to get a melt going. Then as we work into the weekend, 39 and 41. Been emphasizing Sunday right here. Got your phone with you? Got an idea? Pop open your camera on your phone right now. Take a picture of the QR code from the Skywatch weather app, because what that's going to allow you to do is keep up with any flood advisories or watches that we have from not only our snow melt, but also the impending rain on Sunday, and we'll keep you up to date all through the weekend. Tanya, remember, it's not only downloadable for all your mobile devices, it's absolutely free.
That's great. That's great. While it may be sunny here, that's not the case everywhere. More snow is blanketing the Northeast in what forecasters are calling a long-duration event. By the time it's over, that part of the country could get another 8 inches of snow. And Texans are suffering a 4th day of weather-related misery, with many people fighting to survive in their own homes. Power has been restored in many areas, but there are still widespread outages. Boil water advisories are in effect for nearly 1/4 of Texans because treatment plants are down. After a 7-month journey, a NASA mission set for a dramatic landing today could help lay the groundwork for humans visiting another planet. If successful, the rover Perseverance will search for signs of ancient life on the red planet and kick off an effort to bring Martian samples back to Earth. Carter Evans is outside mission control at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California.
And liftoff.
It turns out launching Perseverance to Mars last summer was the easy part. 293 million miles later, the success of this $2.4 billion mission now rides on nailing the landing.
So many little pieces have to go exactly right in order to get the whole thing to work.
Engineer Swati Mohan will be doing play-by-play and mission control during the descent.
This is all autonomous, right? Like once this process starts, there's nothing you can do.
We call it the 7 minutes of terror because it takes 7 minutes to get from the top of the atmosphere down to the ground safely.
The clock starts ticking when Perseverance plunges into the planet's thin atmosphere at 12,000 miles per hour. Its heat shield must survive scorching temperatures hotter than lava. Then its parachute has to fully deploy to slow it down. Even if all that works, Perseverance still needs to find a safe landing spot at a place considered far too dangerous for previous missions, Jezero Crater.
It's filled with these rocks and cliffs and sandy areas. But the exact reasons that scientists love it so much is why we engineers get very nervous trying to fly to Jezero Crater.
Landing here now is only possible because of new navigation technology Mohan helped design. Perseverance will scan the terrain below and change course to avoid obstacles. Then, the rover will be lowered the last 65 feet on cables, suspended by a rocket-propelled sky crane. After the rover Curiosity landed on Mars 8 years ago, it confirmed the red planet once could have supported life. Perseverance will try to find definitive proof.
If life existed on another planet like Mars, that would be such an amazing result.
NASA's Thomas Zurbuchen told us when Mars was covered with water 3.5 billion years ago, Jezero Crater was a lake.
A river came in and it deposited sediments. So if there's ancient life, we think that's the highest likelihood of finding it.
Using its robotic arm, the rover will drill for sediment samples that could contain evidence of past microbial life. But today, the only proof of life that matters will be a photo from Perseverance after a safe touchdown.
What's that site going to be like for you?
To be able to see that the wheels are on the ground safely in one piece, that'll be a tremendous moment.
Carter Evans, CBS News.
Well, adding to the suspense today, because of the distance between Earth and Mars, there's a communications delay of more than 11 minutes. That means by the time we start seeing the data during those 7 minutes of terror on Mars, whatever happened will already be over. Well, Krispy Kreme is selling a new out-of-this-world donut. Check out the Mars donut. It's filled with chocolate cream and dipped in caramel icing. The new treat also has chocolate cookie crumbs on it. Now, Krispy Kreme is only selling the donut today to celebrate the landing of NASA's Perseverance rover on the red planet. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on the KOAM News at Noon.
Millions of Americans are working from home and struggling to separate the two. I'm Nichelle Medina with how a fake commute may help.
And later, we're making country bumpkin fried steak in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. More people are working multiple jobs to make ends meet. According to the Commerce Department, an estimated 12 million Americans are working more than one job, and that's based on data from 2018. Those numbers accounted for nearly 8% of the U.S. workforce, and earnings from a second job made up an average of 28% of total income, meaning people need that money. Millions of people are working from home because of the pandemic. The good news is they don't have to commute anymore. But that can actually be a bad thing in some cases. Nichelle Medina reports.
Danielle Parada's morning commute starts like many. She leaves her house and stops off for a cup of coffee or tea.
Woohoo!
The educator and tutor then heads to her job, but not at a school. She actually goes right back home for another day of working remotely.
I'm doing it online at home using Zoom, so still doing a lot of the things I was doing before, but now through a computer screen. And I feel like being in the house all the time, there were days that would go by that I was just like, wow, I haven't left the house in 5 days.
So once a week, Parada does what's known as a fake commute.
It separates my home and my work.
And she's not alone.
Research shows that this idea of segmentation, so keeping work and home life separate, tends to have some beneficial effects for work-life balance.
Kristen Shockley is an associate professor of psychology and says the fake commute can help people clear their head, and it doesn't have to be a drive.
It sounds like fake commuting can really help your mental health, but your physical health as well.
Yeah, that's one really nice thing. If you're able to do something like walking around the block, you're going to get the benefits that come from both being outside and getting that activity in.
Parada will often include a walk in her fake commute.
It makes me feel like I'm going somewhere, even though I'm just coming back home.
And that makes it a little easier to get through the workday. Nichelle Medina, CBS News, San Diego.
Still to come on the KOAM News at Noon, Mr. Food.
If your gang is getting tired of the same old dinner time routine, join us in the test kitchen today as we reintroduce you to an old favorite with a twist.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
It is a welcome relief on this Thursday on the KOAM News at Noon that we can start with straight temperatures and not have to worry about what the radar says. Here's where we stand right now. Now, these are true temperatures, not actually wind chills. 20 in Pittsburgh. Let's go 20 in Indy, 19 in Nevada. Live look from the Freeman Health System sky camera. We were kind of laughing about this morning. It does look like there was a little bit of use of the hill there for some sledding, and you can't fault the kids for taking a couple days off and enjoying it, and I'm glad that they were, because as we get into next week, stark reality is going to arrive that they're back to school, because we're going to be rolling 50s and 60s by the time we wrap up February and get into March. Right now, we do have a wind chill of 6 degrees as the wind's coming in from the north, double digits, 14 miles per hour in Joplin. That's why we've got a wind chill of 5 in Carthage, 9 in Independence. Earlier this morning, we actually dropped down to about a -7, -8 in some places. Now, as we turn our attention to the radar, you'll notice we've cut out a swath right here, thanks in part to a high pressure system as we've moved everything pretty much off to the far east as far as what we're talking about with the winter storm. Now, it's not over for the mid-Atlantic, northeastern portions of the United States. They're going to have to roll that through the weekend. But for us, plenty of blue skies. It was actually welcome. During our last commercial break, I actually stepped outside and there was a drip coming down from a gutter. And I'm like, we're headed in the right direction. All our advisories, warnings, watches now stretch through Texas. Then on the other side of the Mississippi they roam. Nothing for us to worry about for the time being. Could change though by the time we get to Sunday, and that is because we've got a low pressure system that's hanging right on the backside of this high. Now, what the high is going to do, along with these two pressure systems, give us plenty of blue skies, not only for today, also Friday, give us a little warmth when the wind shifts as well. But this will be our next one. We're not going to worry about snow with this. We're going to be too warm by the time we get to Sunday. But we've got 7 inches of snow on the ground. It's got to melt somewhere. And then we're going to get impending rain as well. Now, when we look at what our winter storm system is doing, they're still going to get about anywhere from 6 to 12 inches as this progresses through New England. For us here, yeah, it's another chilly one. We're only going to talk about mid-20s, good as we're going to get. And then overnight, it's one of those times where we don't fool around once again. It seems like we're out of the fray simply because we don't have any snow coming, but look at this. We're going to roll negative wind chills for early Friday morning. But the nice thing about Friday, by the time that we top out, we are going to look at temperatures that are actually going to be at that magical number, 32 degrees. Excuse me. Going to be a little bit cooler up to the north. Probably roll some 35s, 34s down to the south. So we'll kind of even it out. That's why 7-day forecast reads 31. Don't want everybody to think, oh, it's going to be below freezing. We're getting a melt right now with the sun. Tomorrow's even going to be better. And that's why I'm talking about those flooding concerns by the time that we do get in to the weekend. As far as the weekend goes, get that storm system out there. Now, once this thing crosses the Rockies, this low pressure system, that's when we're going to see it develop back into rain. But that's not until Sunday. So, key factor that I want to talk about. You got your phone with you. We've just talked about it. We've been talking about it all week. All you have to do is pop open your camera and take a picture of that. You don't even need to get close to your TV screen. You could sit in your chair right now, take a picture of that, and what it's going to do is deliver you to the Skywatch weather app, because now that we're done with the snow, one more day of the freezing cold, but then I want everybody to stay on top of these flooding concerns as we end the weekend and get ready for our next morning commute. Tanya?
That's right. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero. Chief Petty Officer Harlan Shepard in the U.S. Navy. The Chanute, Kansas native joined the military in 1988. He served aboard the USS Boxer during Operation Desert Shield in the Persian Gulf and in the Iraqi campaign. To Chief Petty Officer Harlan Shepard, we thank you, our four-state hero. Well, today we're making a down-home, old-fashioned favorite that comes with an extra special country fried topping. Howard shows us his country bumpkin fried steak in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
When it comes to making dinner, one of the biggest challenges many of us face is, what can I make that's different? Let me help you by introducing you to a recipe that's easy, budget-friendly, and comforting. It's country fried steak, and it goes together like this. We start off by seasoning some cube steak with salt and pepper. And then, for a twist, we dip them in some buttermilk. You see, the buttermilk adds a tang to the breading and helps tenderize the meat. We coat both sides really well with some yellow cornmeal, which will ensure lots of crunch in every bite. After pan frying them, when the coating is golden and they're cooked all the way through, we place them on a wire rack. Then, in the same pan, we add some seasoned flour to the drippings, whisk in some milk, and when this thickens, our gravy is done. Serve this up with some mashed potatoes and a veggie, and say goodbye to your boring dinner time routine. Let me assure you, this is going to be a new family favorite. To get your hands on our country bumpkin fried steak recipe, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a fast and budget-friendly way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Well, you can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4 state market prices.
Now we've got to put up with the frigid cold for today, and remember, overnight back into the negative wind chills, but headed in the right direction as we finally get the melt started on Friday. Take us into the weekend. Remember, Skywatch weather app's going to keep you updated on flooding advisories for Sunday. Now over to Dow with a look at what's coming up tonight at 5.
Yeah, at 5, in the first trial of its kind in the world, dozens of young and healthy volunteers will be deliberately injected with COVID-19. More on the study that aims to establish the smallest amount of the virus needed to cause infection. That'll be in Health Watch. Plus, what it takes to put together a clinic for people needing their second doses of coronavirus vaccine, and what happens if someone misses that second dose. And the Southwest Power Pool is no longer on an energy emergency thanks to your conservation efforts. Hope you'll join us. KOAM News at 5.
All right, thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.